My channel's finishing up its first year today, and man, what a year. Not including this video, I've made 18 different reviews throughout the year. And it all started with my first video I ever made, Hydlide. Now looking back a year, my video production has definitely improved since then. For one, I actually have a camera this time, not some cheap $150 camera that could barely do anything right. My editing was horrendous. While my writing, I think, was good, my delivery was not good. But hey, every new video I made, I learned something new. Like, get a good camera, and maybe have good audio, and make sure the game volume isn't as loud as your voice. But hey, you can't improve without trying, right? And although I don't hold the first few videos with the highest regards, I'm not really bitter about them at all. I'm proud with what I managed to do with what little to no prior experience I had. But those videos you probably could just skip over, except if you had like morbid curiosity. Or for the lore, I guess. Luigi's Mansion, for example, was the first time I met the crazy doctor guy when ghosts invaded my house. Well, the first doctor, he tried to find Wakanda and smashed against a mountain or something, I think. But then another clone showed up, and I should really start questioning that more. But anyway, back to my first video, Hydlide. It was a long, tedious RPG mess, with a terrible fighting system. I mean, what RPG has a run into the enemy and hope you win system? And god-awful leveling system, and barely any story except what the instructions give you. But that game did start up my gaming review channel, so maybe I'll remake it in the future, who knows. For now, I wonder what game I could review for my anniversary, and Hello? Hey, I got a new game for you to review and to continue my experiment with. It's coming in the replicator now. What the hell are you talking about? Hydlide had a sequel? Super Hydlide for the Sega Genesis, and man, that's kind of weird, isn't it? A game that was originally on the NES, and yes, I know Hydlide was on Japanese computers first, but in America, the first version we got was the NES. But geez, how did that happen? Yeah, probably somebody at Nintendo played Hydlide and decided to cut their losses. But I tell a bit of a lie. This is actually the third in the Hydlide series. In Japan, it's called Hydlide 3, and we never actually really got Hydlide 2, most likely because that game was only released on the MSX in Japan. So we got 1 and then 3. Yeah, glad that didn't happen again with another RPG series. Also, this did get a Famicom release, but it was ported to the Genesis with improved graphics. So I guess we got this version because the Super Nintendo was coming out the same year and they didn't want to waste their time pointing over both versions. But Hydlide also never went back to a Nintendo console after this, so it could have also been the first thing. Well, let's just boot this game up and see what we got. Well, loading this game up, we start like any great adventure. Create, and I cannot register. Well, this game is pre-owned, so it looks like the previous owners have all the save slots filled. Like Maria, Joe, C-D-D-D-D-D-D-D-D, and shit! Well, I have to delete one of these guys if I'm gonna start, so, sorry about this, Maria.
Maria!
Time to start the grand adventures of, let's see, Spiorg. A name that will pass down into legend. I'll be a simple warrior because I'm basic and boring. And hey, you know what? These starting ability scores aren't half bad. I mean, not fantastic, but it'll do. Now, let me ask you one simple question. Which character am I? That's right, I'm this doofus, this guy who looks like he's cosplaying as Andre the Giant. Well, heading out into the world, we are immediately greeted by these green things, and wouldn't you know it, combat is not as terrible in this. You press the A button to attack, which is a huge step up from just running into them. But man, I'm not doing a lot of damage, and I took a huge amount of damage. So I should head back into town and pick up some armor and weapons. So right away, I can say this as a plus for this game. The music is pretty good, probably because it's on the Sega Genesis, but it's way better than the first one. I mean, it's so funky. In the pause menu, we can look at magic, look at our tools, and no self. Well, I guess it all started when I was born. At the weapon store, let's get, let's see, what can I get with the gold I have? Oh, wait, sorry, dollars in an RPG? Dollars? You sure? Let's just get a knife. I mean, it's better than nothing. Plus, with that, we can get the battle shield, which will up our armor class. And, why can't I move? Why can't I move? There's an encumbrance system? What the hell kind of weight stats are these? Weight 2,000? 5,000? What, is that in pounds? Milligrams? Why the hell can I not carry a shield and a knife? So I'm a warrior who specializes in both weapons and armor, but I can't carry a knife with a shield? Good morning, Sir Blacksmith. I seek to purchase goods so I may start my grand adventure. Good day to you, Sir Warrior. Yes, my wares are open. So, you looking to protect yourself or deal some damage? I need a weapon and a shield, plus any armor you can sell. I have the gold. Very well. This weapon was just forged, the Sword of Nerf. And this, the Shield of Freedom. May those that oppose this shield yield. Plus, some leather armor. Many thanks, my good man. Now I'll use these to go save the world, and I can't move. What? I can't move. I can't move at all. What the hell do you mean you can't move? What I mean is I can't move at all with these items you're giving me. I mean, how much does this even weigh? I don't know, maybe 5,000? Look, you're a warrior class, aren't you? Walking around with a sword and shield shouldn't be too difficult for you. No, I must let go of these items. They are weighing me down. I cast this sword and shield. Sweet, free loot. Hey! Hey, buddy, look, if it's on the floor, it's yours no more. How can you even hold on to that shield so easily? Yeah. Why, me? I'm just a thief. See, we thieves are superior in both strength and life, and we're known to carry heavy weapons. No, you're not. That's literally what a warrior is. That's what I'm supposed to be. Actually, I'm pretty sure that's a thief thing. You know, that and the fact that we don't like magic. That's my thing! You can't just steal my thing! Well, he is the thief. Do you have anything else I can use? I have this knife. Perfect! Yeah, so let's talk about character classes. There's 4 to choose from. Again, not like the first one where you're just Jim the Knight. Warriors are well balanced and are superior in combat and strength. Not superior enough to carry a shield, mind you. Thieves are basically the same, except I guess they have less health and more carry weight than the warrior. Because that makes a whole lot of sense. Priests are superior in intelligence, but they are weak in strength and the Fightiog skill. And monks are superior in everything, but have low health. So I'm guessing they're more of like a bard or a red mage class. And while we're in the instructions, why don't we just go ahead and read the story a bit. Long, long ago, before anyone remembers, evil had once descended upon the good people of Fairyland. Old legends tells of a story of a lone brave hero who saved Fairyland from the threat of doom. Since then, the people of Fairyland had lived through centuries and centuries of peace. Centuries and centuries, and not one person decided to change the name to something less stupid. Alright, let's just speed this up a bit. One dark evening, a huge column of fire exploded, and strange doors appeared out of nowhere. Since then, unusual events began to take place. You know, your usual disaster of biblical proportions. You know, Old Testament stuff. Real wrath of God type stuff. You know, fire and brimstone coming down from the skies, rivers and seas boiling, 40 years of darkness, earthquakes, volcanoes, the dead rising from the grave.
Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria. Enough, I get the point.
Well, anyway, so there's one person who can save the world, and that's Spjorg. So now that we have the gear that we can walk around with, let's do some tried and true beginning level grinding. I'm just gonna kill some monsters, and I died. Okay, that's kind of weird, but whatever. Let's just get those levels back up, and I died again. What the hell? So if you notice down around here, there's a clock. Super Hydlide has honestly this cool feature, and I think this is one of, if not the first game to implement something like this, but it has an internal clock mechanic. You have a normal day that starts at 7 in the morning and ends at about 10 at night when your character needs to sleep or you suffer a huge attack penalty, which is honestly terrible, but I'll explain that later. For now, the time is after 1 p.m., which means it's lunchtime. And if you don't have any food rations, you apparently start starving to death immediately and lose health until you eat or die. Now, unfortunately, food weighs 500, so at the start of the game, good luck carrying more than one. And gold also weighs something. Isn't that always fun? There's a bank that you can deposit your gold at, but the first town bank won't let you in unless you have a bank card. And you'll never guess what we have to get one of those. You have to go to the graveyard to find a gravestone, but you can't read it because you're stupid. So the only way for you to level up is to get XP from killing monsters and going to the church and spending the XP to level up, which is pretty neat, kind of. I mean, it's kind of an inconvenience because this is like the only church in the whole game, so you're gonna have to go back here, which you will do throughout the game anyway. And you also have to use XP to buy magic. Even as a warrior, you can use magic. Well, the first 6 basic spells, you can only get the other 6 as a priest or a monk, and it's in another town. But yeah, you have to grind to get all the 6 spells because the last 3 are the most important. There's Cure, which is obvious why you would want that. And with that, you don't even really need potions. Just cast Cure, and if you run out of magic, just munch on some herbs. The other 2 spells are Learn, which takes traps off of chests, and you'll basically want to use that almost all of the time. And the 6th spell you'll learn, Move. And with that, any inn you slept in, you can magically go back to whenever you want, as long as you have the item you need to get into town in the first place. Which is another problem, but again, I'll explain that in a bit. But for now, I grinded for the better half of an hour, so I'll finally be able to read the text. And what does it say? Just push it. Inside is the subterranean city, an underground city under the graveyard, a goth girl's dream. While you're there, put money in the bank so that you can get the bank card, which lets you put all of the money you don't need into your bank account for safekeeping. I usually kept about 1,000 gold on me so I can sleep in the inn, yet it costs 1,000 gold each time, which is insane at the beginning. Every day you get a $1 interest for every $1,000 that you have at the bank, but really there's no point. At no point did the interest get any higher than like a few hundred a day for me. And even then, I didn't even know if you could take it out at all because the interest is like its own thing. At the end, I had over like $200,000 from monster killing alone. And while you're here, buy the bronze sword. You're only going to need this sword till after the first dungeon, which now we're ready to go for. And you're stuck grinding again for a bit because you're probably about level 5, which is still kind of low, so you're going to want to level up a bit more. But you want to do it in this dungeon since the monsters here drop more XP. Plus, your sword can stab through the thin walls while the monster can't hit through them. And here's one of the biggest problems I have with this game. There's a morality system, and it's implemented very poorly. I do understand what they were going for since it is a story about good versus evil and all that, but my biggest problem is that this system is completely bonkers. So there's 2 types of monsters, good monsters and evil monsters. And you're going to want to fight the evil monsters and not the good ones because that would hurt your morality. Now tell me, which one of these is the good monster and which one of these is the evil monster? Well, out here on the field, only the green plant is good. In the dungeon, only the blue thing is evil. How the hell was I supposed to know that? I mean, these 2 slime things are exactly the same. The only actual way you're supposed to tell if it's a good monster or not is that they won't attack you until you attack them. Out in the field? Okay, I can see that. In the dungeon? This is a tight hallway maze with low vision. How am I supposed to know that safely? I mean, look at this. These bats are vampire bats. They're bats! They're more common enemies than fucking ROUSs.
Rodents of unusual size? I don't think they exist.
And here's the kicker. If you kill a good monster, your morality drops by 20 points. As far as I know, right now, the only difference low morality gives you is the higher price at the stores and more trapped chests, I think. So just slaughter them all like animals. You'll still get XP for them after all. Eventually, you find an elevator, which will take you to the 199th floor. There's 199 floors in this place. Man, medieval architect was really good back then. But I tell a bit of a lie. The elevator only goes to the 199th floor. You still have to go to the 200th floor. For reference, the tallest building we have is the Burj Khalifa, which only has 163 floors. At the top, you have your first boss fight, Hell Smoke. Alright, Hell Smoke, prepare to meet your... Oh shit, ouch! Ah! The boss is very straightforward. He'll only shoot once and then immediately turn to run, so just dodge his attacks and you'll have no problem with him. And with that, you get the Cloudstone, which I totally knew what to do right away. I didn't like wander around aimlessly trying to figure out, I swear. On the 198th floor, there's these clouds at the bottom that you can now walk on, and you get to Heavenly City. Make sure you sleep in the inn, but remember you still need the stone, not only to get to the Water Palace in a bit, but also so you can keep coming back here. So that's 500 weight that's going to be stuck in your inventory forever. Seriously, in order to keep coming back to some of these places, you're going to need to keep these items with you at all times. There's no way to store items till you need it, so that's just weight you have to deal with, and towards the end, despite having a carry rate of 31,000, again, whatever the fuck that means, you'll still find yourself struggling with all the other items that you need to keep on you. But now you're probably a high enough level to do this, so go back to that gravestone area where the subterranean city was, and look at these gravestones right here. You'll find the Silver Sword. It's very heavy and you might struggle to walk a bit, but you need it for like just a minute. Move spell back to the Heavenly City and go to the castle. At the top left area here, search and you'll find the Lightsaber, which is the most powerful sword in the game. Hey you! Your money or your life. Only a Sith deals in absolutes. I will do what I must. Whoa, you know what? Never mind, sir. Never mind. I'm out. I'm out of here. Well, there's not much else here, except there's some items you can only get here, and this guard here will give you weed for free. Now you have to go through this hole and jump down. Make sure you still have the Cloudstone, because otherwise you're going to die. But with that, you'll land safely into the Water Palace, where you'll get your next objective. So we need to get this Scroll of Gem from this king, who will only give it to us if we have a Dragon's Fang? Yeah, that seems like a fair trade. So we have to fight a dragon, but where can we find one? You don't just walk into a convenience store and just buy dragon fangs, you know. No, you have to go find the dragon, which is located back in the subterranean city. A guard is blocking our way through, but there's a hidden wall we can walk through. And in this room, there's nothing really in these chests except for this one, which leads to a cave. You have to search it twice, even though there's no indication you're supposed to do that, but whatever. And here's where the time mechanic is at its worst. See, you can't fucking see in this cave, unless you have like a lamp and oil. Superior oil lets you see just a little bit more, but monks and priests have the benefits of getting the flash spell, which lights up the whole area. But you can just get by with just the lamp. But this place is really going to start pissing you off. There's 4 monsters, 3 are bad, and 1 is good. But the good ones are the white ghost, and the evil ghost is a slightly different colored ghost. And in this small vision area, it's hard to determine them really quickly, so again, just kill them all. You're gonna get lost in this cave, and chances are you're gonna be there almost all day, so make sure you have rations. But even so, after 10 p.m., you're gonna lose all your attack power because you're sleepy. So either way, you're gonna be forced to go back to the inn. Sure, later down the line, you can get a camping gear for $200,000, but it's a one-time use only item, so don't even bother carrying that unneeded weight around. This cave took me 3 in-game days to finally get through, and at the end you have to fight a 3-headed dragon, which is another simple fight. I mean, he just extends one head out and you have to attack that head, which, although the game shows no indication on whether or not you're doing anything, except when the head explodes, and you better hope you don't die, because then it's all the way back to the beginning of the cave. And with that, you get the Dragon's Fang. Give that to the king. Yeah, here's your fucking tooth, asshole. And with that fang, he's gonna let you take anything from his collection, but you only need one thing. Besides, his collection sucks. I mean, who the hell holds a stone? The only thing that's worth is the gem scroll, which we need to get into the hidden city. Inside the city, there's the robots? Missile shooting robots in a fantasy game? Well, yeah, because my favorite part in Lord of the Rings was when the Terminator showed up and was all like, I'm looking for Frodo Baggins, and the guy pointed him towards Hobbiton. But yeah, robots. And these guys hit pretty hard too if you're not careful. But they do give a lot of XP, so grind a bit before you head up to the 3rd floor and talk to this computer. Which tells you that the previous race flew into the Earth to get into space. Make that make sense. And they're stranded out into space and need our help. Also, I was following a guide. If it wasn't obvious, this game is kind of confusing. But there's a slight problem. The only actual good walkthrough I could find only had screenshots of another version. You can tell that because these sprites are different. So around this point I spent like 10 minutes looking for a space compass, which should have been here, but the guide sent me here, but in reality it was here. And while you're there, make sure you also get a spacesuit, because you'll have to wear that in space. Yeah, because you have to go into space through the ground. and walk around and follow a compass in space to find a spaceship. Because, you know, my favorite part in Lord of the Rings was during the Council of Elrond when he was all like, "You will all unite or you will all fall. The Death Star must be destroyed." And then Frodo jumped up and was all like, "I will do it. I will destroy the Death Star." Good times. But yeah, eventually you find the spaceship. With the last race, the Sarah turned into these adorable things. I mean, look at these little guys. These were the only good monsters that I understood to not kill. The point is that you need the information from the computer here, where it'll tell you that someone named Kaizak is responsible for all this, and you need a talisman to get to another dimension located back in the cave with the dragon. And it's cryptic as all hell. There's just random ruins that you can't read in the back somewhere in this fucking cave. And then you have to go back 7 steps, and then left 4 steps. And then they're on the ground somewhere. It's not even in a treasure chest, it's just on the ground you have to press the B button to find. Make sure to also pick up the horn here, and I guess leave these guys to the fate to die alone in space, since we don't lift a finger to help them. We just take their stuff and leave. And wait, I thought the ground opening up was like a recent event, but these guys said that they did it so they can get into space. And they were in space long enough to evolve into these guys? And you know what? I'm starting to think that this story is pretty dumb. After finding the talisman, you have to head to this spot here and make sure you've actually attached the talisman before attempting to go in, because otherwise it's just going to send you to a random place and you have to walk all the way back. And now you're in a different dimension. Sure, whatever. Go here and blow on this horn a bit to reveal the last city you're going to find. The City of Illusion. Here is where we need the holy water to break a seal in the first city for another dungeon. And this part is the worst part in this fucking game! See, remember when I said just go ahead and kill all the good monsters because the game doesn't really seem to make a point in the morality system? Well, I was wrong, because in this specific part, the boss will heal himself in the middle of the fight. The only way to stop him is to collect 5 points of light, which will only reveal themselves to someone who is a pure of heart. Which means 100 morality. And I have 0 morality.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
I had to grind for like maybe 2 hours, give or take. It took forever. You know how you get 1 point of morality? You have to kill 10 evil monsters. Which means I had to kill 1,000 monsters to go back up to 100. I mean, I tried before to go back up in morality, but it's such a ball ache. I mean, I would get up to like 18 or so and a good monster wouldn't run into my attack, or I would just attack it thinking it was a bad monster. And then I would lose 20 morality, so I just didn't worry about it. I mean, honestly, that's not even the worst part yet, because at this point, the 3 monsters outside changed into 3 evil monsters, so it's just open season out there. Sure, it took me 10 in-game days, but I got back up to 100 morality, so let's go right in. By the way, you have to use up a holy water each time you go in here, so make sure you have extra just in case. Plus more, because you can't fucking see! So you have to go through this huge maze, which by the way had 2 floors in the PC version, thank Christ they cut it down to 1 in the console version. Find the points of light, which has no clear signs that they're there, and find the way up. Which is next to fucking impossible. I looked for so long, getting lost and going back to where I was and not knowing where to go. No guide helped me. I looked up 3 different walkthroughs, and the map they gave me looked nothing like this one. The layout was all different and everything. The only way, and I mean the only way I was able to find my way was to look up a video on YouTube and follow its steps. Thank God this guy posted this last year. Right here. There's a hidden wall right here you have to go through. There's no fucking clue that that's where you have to go. No clear signs, no indication, no villager tells you this. I'm in a dark cave with little to no light. How the hell did you expect me to do this? And now we have the boss Valeris. You know, the guy from the first game. I spent over an hour in just 1 dungeon for a 5-second boss. Yeah, that's for giving me so much shit in the first game, you dick. After you kill him, make sure you head back inside and search the ground for a statue of Valeris, because the game doesn't give you any hints, and if you immediately move back to a city like I was about to do, if I didn't read the walkthrough first, you'd be forced to go through this fucking dungeon again. After that, you go back to the other dimension and go into a prison and talk to 1 random prisoner who's going to tell you where to go next. There's a rock area which at night opens up a time door. We now have to time travel because, you know, my favorite part in Game of Thrones was when Doc Brown told Ned Stark they have to go to the future because his kids were in danger. And this is the last dungeon, the time door. Here we have 2 things we're going to have to do first. Go to the 2nd floor and find this computer to find out that a fairy is trapped here. This is the only time a fairy has shown up in this game, by the way. And it wasn't even in Fairyland. And you need to check this fucking computer first in order for the ferry to even show up. To get the ferry out, which you definitely want, you're going to have to go to floor 3 and find and talk to this ferry first so that you can go to the 4th floor to this computer to shut it down and release her. And then you have to go all the way back to the 3rd floor to pick her up. You have to do it exactly in this order. But whatever, now you're ready for the final boss, Kaisak. Welcome, mortal. I am Kaisak, the Lord of Darkness and your creator. It's a pity you will die here. You can see me, but can you destroy me? Now, one of the biggest problems with this game is that during boss fights, you can't go into the menu. So you can't take potions or cast magic at all. So before a boss, it's always best to heal up and maybe take an invincibility potion. But right here, the game detects if you took an invincibility spell or the item before you fight Kaisak, and you can't hurt him until the buff turns off. Which is kind of a dick move, but what the game doesn't detect is the game's speed. At least for Kaisak, I didn't really try for the other ones, but he remains the same speed while you can just speed across and dodge his attacks by putting on the fastest speed. And here's another problem. The lightsaber is completely useless here. You need the flame sword, which is in a chest somewhere in the Valeris cave, and they don't tell you about this at all. It shoots flames, which you'll need to hit his 4 boils, after which you run into his mouth to deal the final blow, and I mean, of course, you attach the life water before the fight, so when you go into his mouth and die, it'll just bring you back to life with enough health to finish the fight. And yay, I have acquired 5,000 XP. I'll be sure to never spend it, because the game's over. In the end, Kaisak reveals that he has created everything, including me as his opposite? And when he dies, everything dies, but he's also going to live forever? Whatever, I stopped caring. But, I mean, it looks like Kaisak is a fucking liar, because here I am with no explanation on why or how, and I guess the game ends. It also looks like the beginning of Shadow the Hedgehog, kind of. And with that, the game is over, and my god, this was a pain in the ass. The game was tedious. There was little to no help during the entire game, and what little story there was made no sense. And yeah, there was barely a story. It only showed up after the robots did. The weight system, while it was unique and I could have seen it work, it was not implemented well at all, and throughout the game it only caused more aggravation. And the time system sucks too. Again, I could see it working, but they didn't implement it well at all. And with the weight system, you're forced to carry food around, which can also slow you down. And overall, the game gave me headaches towards the end, after a while with the dungeon layouts and trying to figure out what to do. But is it better than the first game? I think there's more good things than bad in this one. I mean, the graphics are good, the sound quality is really good. Again, probably because it's on the Genesis. And there's actually a combat system present in it. If I had to choose, I'd probably choose this one first. Although I never want to play these games again. So thank you guys for watching my video. I really do hope you enjoyed it. I do look forward to seeing what this new year of video game reviews is going to bring me. If you like this video, please leave a like down below to let me know. And subscribe to my channel so you can get the newest videos when they come out. At least Hydlide never had a 3rd game in the US and maybe next year.